Well, good day, everybody. Bonjour, Gui. It's a great pleasure to be here. I'd like to thank Irvin, first of all, for welcoming us here. Dave and I were thinking as we drove down how many times we've been to this park and how important it is to the city. Thank you, Irvin. Deb Eisen, one of the best. Ma'am, thank you very much for honoring us with a blessing and for honoring me with a smudge. It's very important to me. I also want to thank my co-chairs, April and Chris, for their kind comments and for stepping up to run this campaign. I very much appreciate it. And Diana, thank you for your kind words as well. It means a great deal to me. I want to thank all the people who've been working on this campaign so far, Matt Wynot, Donna McCready, and people who've all played a role in taking us to this point. We're gathered today on the ancestral and the unceded land of the Mi'kmaq people. Each of us is a beneficiary of the peace and friendship treaties in this land known as Jabuktuk, or the Great Harbor, and standing here, you can see why. We're also gathered at Africville Park, a long-standing home and continued heart of Halifax's historic Black community, here on the shores of a harbor that holds the history of this city, marking each day with the rise and the fall of the tides. Let's begin by acknowledging that we are in difficult times. We run this campaign against the backdrop of the continuing fight against COVID and the need to plan for a post-COVID city. The pandemic has changed nearly every aspect of our lives in Canada and around the world. It has upended the economy, and it has created a well-placed worry for family and friends. People have lost income. Businesses are suffering, even closing. While much is yet to be told about COVID-19, we can look to some truths, many uncomfortable, but some heartening. I'm proud of the groundswell of compassion and generosity in this community. Countless individuals, businesses, and organizations have stepped up to help each other. I believe that the strengths of this municipality will position us well for recovery, with record immigration, increased development, a strong knowledge and innovation sector, a busy port and airport, bustling shipyard, and solid investments in creating vibrant communities. Halifax has become a top-performing urban economy. Regional Council has responded to the COVID challenges. We reduced expenditures significantly through a rigorous and painful budget recasting process where we worked hard to maintain essential services. As has been our practice in my time as mayor, we've kept the tax rate down, and we have in place rainy day reserve funds that can keep the municipality moving. I've worked with fellow mayors across the country and other orders of government to push Ottawa for relief for municipalities alongside the people and the businesses that drive the economy. Like families and businesses, our council has found new ways to meet, new ways to work, and I'm proud of how we've come together as a city. Expanding sidewalks, slowing neighborhood streets, making parking free, making patios free, enabling expanded patios, finishing needed bike lanes, and turning community centers into shelters. We have an awesome staff at HRM, and I'm very proud of their work. COVID has also cast a harsh glare on the inequalities that continue to exist within society and here at home. Issues like housing affordability, food security, and systemic racism. This, of course, is the era of Black Lives Matter, a movement that brought thousands of people to kneel in the streets of Halifax and around the globe, while our TV shared endless images of racist attacks on civilians. We cannot ignore our own well-documented struggles with anti-Black racism in this community, especially as we stand here on this hallowed ground. It's an individual tragedy and a social scar that damages our whole community and everybody who lives here. Individually and collectively, we have a responsibility to know it, to own it, and to eliminate it. I am grateful for the work already underway, as April mentioned, through the municipality's Office of Diversity and Inclusion, the African Nova Scotian Affairs Integration Office, and the Public Safety Office. We have indeed taken significant strides. It's clear, however, that we need to do more. I will work with the next council, our administration, and the community to stand up to racism and discrimination in all of its forms. We will also reconcile the history of this city's founding with a future that creates a trusting, respectful, progressive relationship with the Mi'kmaq people, and implement the wise and thoughtful recommendations of our task force on commemoration. You know, the lessons of history and the known daily experiences of racialized people in this community must inform a better way forward. And working with our partners in government and in community, we will address the suite of recommendations from the Poverty Solutions Task Force that I co-chaired with the United Way's Sarah Napier. Similarly, through continued work with the Housing and Homelessness Partnership, we must work to ensure that everybody can afford a safe, accessible place to live. In addition to requiring affordable units in new construction, we will now allow backyard suites, support the conversion of underutilized commercial space to housing, and create a housing trust to aid community partners in building affordable options. We will partner with other orders of government, recognizing that while housing may not be identified as a municipal mandate, it is absolutely the responsibility of all of us. Unquestionably, our community is struggling against loss and unease about the future. In the current crises that we face, we cannot lose sight of climate change and the fact that our coastal community is in real jeopardy. Council was among the first in the country to declare a climate emergency, following it with the approval of an aggressive climate change strategy. We will resource this strategy appropriately to match our words with real action and prepare for a rapidly changing world. Halifax 2050 is an outstanding roadmap, and our council, along with our dedicated staff, will enact it. Together, we must ensure that we are not just a bigger city, but indeed a better city, where every child has enough to eat and a secure place to sleep, where every citizen finds a place to match their talent and ambition, and where we all contribute to a healthy, sustainable environment. This election is just over a month away. I encourage you to follow along on my and other campaign websites. Tune into my campaign podcast, which we're going to launch soon and have some fun with, which will take a deeper look at many of the issues and opportunities highlighted by my platform. I want to encourage everybody who can to take their responsibility as a voter seriously. We really get the cities and the communities we create together. Local government, possessed with a strong public mandate, can make real progress. We've shown that. So please get to know the issues, get to know where your council stands, and vote. The mayor and council that are elected in October have a deep responsibility to provide leadership based in hope for the future, faith in our strength as a community, and a sound understanding of the stewardship of our resources. In this harbor, a century ago, two ships collided, creating the greatest tragedy in our history, with unimaginable devastation to families and the whole community. Some questioned whether Halifax would indeed survive. Our city showed its resilience, and they used the rallying cry, "We shall never rebuild Halifax unless everybody works." That poster has hung in my office since the day that I was sworn in as mayor nearly 8 years ago. It remains especially relevant now as we face new challenges, but also gives us cause to reflect on how far we've come since 2012. At that time, our population was stagnant, growth was low, our downtown was slowly dying, and council was widely seen as dysfunctional. But we got to work. Today, people from around the world and across the country are flocking to Halifax in record numbers. Investment is up, and new companies are choosing to locate in Halifax. Even as COVID seemed to freeze the world in place, companies, 10 of them, just since COVID, have moved to Halifax and are now employing our people. We've seen record development in our downtown and in growth areas around the municipality. We are protecting and preserving precious green space and wilderness areas for generations to come. Council is working well together, taking on big issues such as inequality, climate change, and new ways to move people more effectively. We have managed our budgets, kept taxes low, and made strategic investments in our communities. Our mature and respectful relationship with other cities and other orders of government is strong and paying dividends. While the entire world deals with the effects of COVID-19, we are well positioned to come out of this pandemic as we entered it, strong and committed to sustainable, fair growth where everybody belongs, right here in HRM. Let's get to work. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Walaliuk.